Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Ask Kate with Kate Deary, the author of How to Heal Your Metabolism. And if you're someone who's followed me for a while, you'll know that, we love Kate's book. We sell it on our website because it's just it's based on the work of Ray Peat and other scientists and people. But I think if anyone's ever read any of Ray Peat's work, I find it quite hard to understand. And I think Kate's book's just a really great summary of all the different concepts in a language that you can actually grasp and go away and apply. And we actually, in our program, one of the first tabs is recommended reading, and Kate's book's in there, and we recommend everyone to buy it. So if you haven't read it, I've read it probably about 5 times. Head over to our shop. I think it's New Strength. Oh, anyway, people will know where the link is in the Facebook page. But how long ago did you write it? It's been out for a while now.
I published it 2015.
Oh wow, so 4 years. Yeah. It's such a great book. We get lots of good feedback on it.
Yeah, I'm either thinking about doing either a updated book for it. That's my two things, or writing another, because I have like probably 100 pages worth of stuff that I think would be helpful for people. So I don't know how to integrate that or just write a second book. So it's all,
you should do both, Kate.
Yeah.
With all the other clients that you're working with, and
Yeah, it's like having 6 babies at one time. But, when you start learning more, because usually, and I'm sure you feel this way, is, all your clients are your biggest teachers. So the more people you work with, the more, their experience helps you understand more about how the healing process works. Because all of a sudden you get some new client with some other weird stuff, and you start taking through this process. You're like, oh, okay, this was working. And so it's additional information, I think, that would be totally helpful.
Oh, totally. And I think ourselves, like we go through experience, and this is what we're going to talk about today is basically the healing process, I guess. And because a lot of women will come to us, and probably more so us, like you get different types of women, but they want to look better. Like they want to have a toned and athletic body. And part of that is healing the inside first, because it's the outside is the last thing to follow. And we was talking about building that foundation, but this process, and even for us, it's never been linear like this. You go up, you see improvements, and there might be a little dip, and then, and I see it every day with my clients. So I guess we just wanted to talk about with women what to do when that progress stops becoming linear and you potentially might have a little backwards or a little blip or something happens. What could cause that? What else to look at apart from food? Then there's the headspace things. I think that, and I've done it myself in the initial days, I was like, things would go good and then something would happen, and I'd start to question everything. Not now, because I've been doing it for so long and I know that this is the way, but you start to go back to, am I eating too much sugar? I shouldn't be eating this dairy, or, and then you start to read and you start to question everything.
Yeah. Well, I think that's like an important point, because I think when you do start the process, you will question this process because it is so different from every other thing that's going on right now, especially so because the ketogenic diet is so very popular, and it's about the opposite thought process than we are teaching. So I think that first you need to know that that's going to happen. You're probably going to second guess your process, especially if things aren't going, and all of a sudden you kind of go into a little dip. You will question what you are doing for sure. What you have to remember, and I think the basis of all this is that if you were getting some good results initially, you kind of need to focus in on those, and you also need to take your focus away maybe from things like your weight initially and bring it back to things like temp, pulse, mood, sleep, digestion, energy level. Because usually when people start doing this way, they all of a sudden do start feeling better. Whether it's energetically, their mood feels a little bit more stable. They don't feel like they're going to crash in the middle of the day. Their blood sugar starts getting more regulated, so their energy level is a little bit better. And so those things are kind of important to focus on, because if your previous way of eating was kind of leaving you feeling hungry, low energy, sleep issues, digestion started getting poor, and things started happening on a negative level, but you were losing weight, it might not have been the best diet for you on a health level. So again, it's important to take into consideration some new metabolic points of measuring success, like we've talked about, the temp and pulse, but also, knowing that this is not, like you said, a linear process, and you're going to have dips, and you need to keep keeping the focus on what you want. And, because like I said, I've had a client, and she was a binger. So, she would kind of keep herself from eating sugars and eat in this certain calorie range and be able to do it for, a week or two, but then some sort of stress would hit, and it immediately couldn't control it, and then was eating everything in sight, right? Like 2 to 3 times the calories that she was eating, and couldn't stop. Uncomfortable digestion, sleep issues, all of these things would start happening. Once we started regulating her, though, and getting her more food and getting her a lot more sugar, first she was amazed that she's like, I can't believe I don't want to binge. But it would still come in 2 or 3 weeks into it. She had a little bit of an episode. The good news was she got out of it a lot quicker and realized basically what her trigger was. So, basically she was kind of getting to that old pattern of trying to not eat as much. And all of a sudden some stress came into play. Her body wasn't regulating, which created that urge to binge and so forth. So again, all we have to do is kind of come back to what we're trying to do to support ourselves through stressful events, and to understand that those are going to happen. And like I said, I'm sure that you guys experience as well. And so, every day of your life is going to be different. And so once you understand that when you are under more stress, or you're under more activity, or whatever you're doing requires more energy, and energy is in the form of sugars, healthy sugars, that you have to keep those in balance and not be so fearful of the fact that, oh my God, sugar is going to make me gain weight, or whatever you keep hearing on every other news channel.
I think too, and we talk about this a lot in the program, and it's taken me a while to get to this point, is actually being in tune with your body and trusting what your body is telling you. So, like I go in between tracking and not tracking, because I like to prepare all my food in advance and have everything ready for the week. And, I like to perform in the gym, because our program is about helping women strength train, and they want to look like, well, not look like me, like I'm pretty big, but they want to have their own version of, strong and toned. And I think, for me, I trust my body now. I'll have my food prepped out, but then if I Sunday, because I'd just come back to training, full week of training again, heavy, I was so sore, and I could feel I needed more carbs. So on Sunday, I just ate. We made homemade pizza, because I really like pizza. We had lamb shakes at lunch. I had extra fudge. I had extra milk. I had a great sleep that night, woke up heaps less sore. And then I trained yesterday and I was good. So it's and I wasn't worried, okay, I'm going to stack on 10 kilos, because I know now, I need to feel my body. And one other thing I want to throw in there too is, and this is not specifically for women in your program, but ours, it's when it comes to changing body composition, so many of them, and this is a perfect example, a client emailed me, and she's only been in our program 12 weeks. So she's done some pretty good work. She's built up, her baseline of calories. So where she's maintaining her current body composition, she's only tiny though too. She's 57 kilos. And she'd probably be 22% body fat. And she's like to me, Kitty, she's, they have she wrote me this big message. And, she'd gone and got one of those it was some body fat percentage, maybe jumped on those scales or something. I said, they're not accurate. I said, well, the best way to do is just look at your measurements, I said, but what about your strength? I said, what's your strength doing? You want to look like this, but yet your lifts are only at however much she was lifting. And I said to her, 12 weeks, I said, how long do you think it's taken me to get the strength and build the strength that I have? 4 years. So, you have to remember that building strength and learning how to lift takes time, and you're not going to get there in 12 weeks. You have to give this 12 to 18 months. And instead of focusing on how you look and focusing on whatever that body fat percentage is, I want you to go into the gym and focus, okay, I need to get, you're 57 kilos. I need to be able to deadlift double my body weight. So how long is that going to take you? Might take you 12 months. So that's what then you're going to look like you want to look. But I think that the fitness industry, or before, she'd done all these diets and instantly dropped body fat. And I just said to her, if you don't build that strength base, you're going to have to always drop your calories to look how you want to look. And I also said to her, well, you'd be probably surprised if I told you what my body fat percentage is. It's probably around 24%. So I'm higher body fat percentage than you. But the reason I look, you think, that I look leaner is because I've got more muscle. because I'm stronger. So I don't have to diet myself anymore to, you know, like look toned and athletic. I guess that's what the women want. But yeah, again, it's that, you know, and they might have little injuries, or they might, you know, hit roadblocks with their technique, but that's all part of the process.
Yeah.
You know?
And well, I mean, and just getting into weight training, because I don't talk about this a lot, but I think it's important because women use words like tone and shape, and that like your muscles don't do that. They your muscles contract, and you know, and I mean, so it's like they grow. They're not going to grow. I mean, so if somebody looks more toned or shaped, usually they have less body fat. I mean, it's just how it is, or they have.
But they also have more muscle.
Yeah, like, they have enough muscle tissue to show that. But I'm saying is that there's no exercise that elongates your muscles. I mean, I hear these things all the time. It drives me insane. I'm like, I'm doing this because it's long. I go, your bone is not going to change size, so your muscle is not going to get longer.
It just gets bigger. Because obviously
it gets bigger. That's right. It gets dense. I mean, and you have to remember, when you have more muscle tissue, and if you consume more sugars, you're going to hold more muscle glycogen. And so that alone is going to make you weigh more. And for every basically gram of glycogen you store, you're going to store about 2 grams of water. So then water is going to be stored in the tissue, which is also going to make you heavier. So we need to understand, when you put on weight, you know, and you get fuller, it's going to be water, glycogen, tissue. It's not just weight. You got to understand where it's coming from. But and like I said, I'm sure you go over that, but I just think like, hey, you know,
you did get away. But I mean, I jump on the scales and I get heavier. I'm like, yes, you know, like I'm actually heavier. I'm like, because I'm trying. I want, like, for me, I'm like,
that is your goal,
because I want to get more muscle, because I want to be stronger. And I think, you know, look at a woman that can deadlift. Say you got 2 70-kilo women, and one can deadlift 60 kilos and the other one can deadlift 120. The more muscle, you have to have more muscle to be, obviously there's the technical side of it and the efficiency of lifting, and you get better at it. But at some point, to get stronger, you have to put on more muscle. So it's like, so we try and teach that way. Like me, like I can maintain this physique training 3 days a week, which to me, I think, fuck yeah. Like I don't want to be in the gym smashing myself with, I miss 10 days of training. Nothing changes. I'm the same, you know. And I think women, it's just, they hammer themselves so much with cardio and just, you know, but again, it just comes back to the journey, the longevity of the journey. And I've had injuries. I've broken my arm squatting, but I didn't go, oh, fuck it. You know, I'm not going to do this anymore. 2 weeks later, I was back in the gym and I was doing what I could, and I just rehabbed myself and now I'm lifting again. So I think it's when you hit these little road blocks, it's not throwing your hands in the air and going, nah, this is too hard. It's just, you know, reframe your thinking. Like how I think about stuff now is what can I learn from this? What's the opportunity here? You know, what can I do, rather than focusing on what I can't do or what I don't have.